All right, Shalom. Want to start by saying, Call HALAL, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakadash. Double honors to the Apostles of Israel, aka the Apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, so real quick, a few days ago, came across, actually it was a couple days ago, came across something. Initially it was on a end time headline. You know, dude on social media came across a little ways back. He'd be posting good shit. And also, I'm on InfoWars, so that's like Alex Jones or whatever, and a couple other platforms, but they're all pretty much saying the same thing, you know. And it's basically these it says elites, but it ain't really the elites like the Rothschilds and all that. It's talking about like elite, like celebrities, like Tom Brady is mentioned and Jeff Bezos is mentioned. So not the super elite, but they are rich, and there are very, very rich and powerful individuals that are moving into these high security fortress communities. You know what I'm saying? And it says, in this article, it says, why are the elites moving into high security fortress communities? Now, this article is from InfoWars, and this is from November 26th. You see? And basically, he got the same words and basically like the same thing as end time headline. But that goes to show where we at. We at the end. We in the last days. So this, as the scripture said, that the rich are going to run down into the caves and underground and whatnot, mountains, like in the underground and all that. So like this is all pertaining to biblical prophecy, as is everything else. So it says for many among the elite, security has become the number one priority when choosing a new home. When things really start hitting the fan, most Americans are just going to have to deal with the chaos that is suddenly erupting all around them. And that's what's coming, chaos. You got Jacob's trouble, a time like no other, perilous times, sedition among men. They should be running to each other's houses for lack of bread. A man shall desire to go into a city and not be able. These are all the things that's happening right before our very eyes and preparing to happen more and more intensely. All right. So it says the elite aren't stupid. They can see that our society is coming apart at the seams all around us. And so they want to live someplace safe. Now here, all of a sudden, you've been in America. You've been making money. You've been doing all of what you've been doing. But now all of a sudden, you see what it says. They can see that our society is coming apart at the seams all around us. So what? That means that the super rich, the ones that are in a good case, so to speak, they said they see the society is coming apart, is collapsing basically. They see the collapse of the society. And what society? What is this? What society is this? This is Esau's society, and this is Esau's kingdom. And mainly here in Babylon the Great, aka America, the United States, it's definitely collapsing and it's definitely crumbling. And it's not going to get better, it's only going to get worse. So it says, in fact, for many among the elite, security has become the number one priority when choosing a new home. Unfortunately, the vast majority of us do not have the resources to move into high security communities guarded by teams of armed professionals, but it's still man. Because at the end of the day, from what I read in the article, these communities are still in America. I believe they said they're in Florida. So you're still not going to survive the nukes. And at the end of the day, let's say you were to survive the nukes. What about YAHAWASHI? What about when the Lord comes back? People not even thinking about that. They thinking that, when the work is over, they're going to be in their own little communities and that's going to be it. And then somehow, I don't know what the fuck they're going to think afterwards, after all hell breaks loose. Well, what's going to actually stop all hell from breaking loose? What's going to stop shit from hitting the fan? It's going to be ultimately the nukes, and then YAHAWASHI's return, because he's going to come in the midst of the nations fighting, in the midst of this nuclear third world war. All right? It says when things really start hitting the fan, most Americans are just going to have to deal with the chaos that is suddenly erupting all around them. It says, but for the extra ultra wealthy, one of the benefits of having so much money is being able to shut yourself off from the rest of the world. In Delray Beach, Florida, a community known as Stone Creek Ranch has become extremely trendy among the elite for one particular reason. It has a heavily armed security unit that watches over it 24 hours a day. On paper, Stone Creek Ranch, a prestigious enclave made up of less than 40 luxury homes, is a world away from Miami, Manalapan, and Palm Beach. It offers no beaches, no celebrity approved nightlife, and no glitzy designer shopping. So basically it's just a place of safety and luxury. So they don't have the amenities of like basically like the high life, but they have safety and security and it's luxury. So it's nice. But at the end of the day, what them heavily armed security guards gonna do against YAHAWASHI and the angels and the elect when they get the power? Hell, what they gonna do against the missiles? Because if you in America and America's getting nuked, you can only stay under their butt for so long. So it said yet it offers one particular luxury that has proven to be quite the draw among the 1%. It says total and absolute privacy that is safeguarded by a team of armed professionals who watch over the community 24/7, a majority of whom come from previous jobs in law enforcement or the military. Prospective residents' entry into the community is policed just as carefully. It says any home buyer seeking to purchase one of just 37 private residences within Stone Creek are required to go through rigorous criminal background checks before they can even attempt to secure a home there. It says, considering how fast conditions in our society are deteriorating, it sounds like a wonderful place. You hear that? Considering how fast conditions in our society are deteriorating, it sounds like a wonderful place. And this is how the super rich feel. This is how the elite, it says the 1%, but these are how the rich people, the people that are richer than the average person feel. Like I said, Tom Brady was mentioned, Jeff Bezos was mentioned. All right. So these are people that are well off, but they don't feel safe because why? These are corruptible riches. These are corruptible crowns. These are riches that are cankered. These are riches that are gotten by the sea, damn near all of them. All right. It says, but you will never get to live there unless you have tens of millions of dollars. Just last month, Hollywood A-lister Mark Wahlberg made headlines when he dropped $37 million on a newly constructed mega mansion inside the enclave. So now, Mark Wahlberg, I forgot Mark Wahlberg. Tough Marky Mark, Mr. Tough Guy. Because you see, they know that the things that's coming is going to be beyond like, hand-to-hand combat. This is all out a collapse of a society. When you have people that ain't got shit looking for the shit, and these rich people that got the shit, they gonna hide their shit and they going underground. This is all prophecy. It says so it says just last month, Hollywood A-lister Mark Wahlberg made headlines when he dropped $37 million on a newly constructed mega mansion inside the enclave, only to be followed weeks later by Rockstar Energy founder Russ Weiner, who is in contract on 2 properties in the community worth a total of $43 million. So Mark Wahlberg and the founder of Rockstar Energy drink. It said the island boasts a high-tech security system that's straight out of a spy movie, and the list of residents includes Tom Brady and Jeff Bezos. Tom Brady and Jeff Bezos. Indian Creek Village, known as the Billionaire Bunker, isn't just another gated community. It's the ultimate fortress for the ultra-rich. Nestled in South Florida's Biscayne Bay, this private island is where some of the world's wealthiest people, including Jeff Bezos and Tom Brady, have decided to stake their claim. But living here isn't just about luxury, it's about security and lots of it. See what? They don't feel secure. They don't feel in charge. They're feeling that security is an issue of the way the climate of society is, man. Matter of fact, hold on, let me get a couple of scriptures real quick. Let me get a quick scripture. Quick precept. Gotta get the... This is the book of James, chapter 5, verse 1, but I'm going to read this in the NLT. Now, if I'm reading King James, I'm going to read both. So it says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. So it says what? Ye rich men. Tom Brady, Jeff Bezos, Mark Wahlberg, this founder of Rockstar Energy, all will be considered rich people in this world right now. In this society. High society. In the NLT of James chapter 5, verse 1, in the NLT, it says, "Look here, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you." Because that's what they see coming. They see terrible troubles. And remember, these elites, Mark Wahlberg, Jeff Bezos, Tom Brady, those are not the actual elites that call the shots. Which the elites that call the shots, you got to think about the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, what's the other niggas' names? Rockefellers, the Bernsteins, and so on and so forth. Those small hats. And even of the other nations. The elite rich of the other nations. But whose kingdom is this? This is Esau's kingdom. So you're going to see a lot of Edomites taking heed to safety issues because they see that this kingdom is going down. They see that this society is collapsing, as it says in this article. All right? Verse 2 of James chapter 5, it says, "Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten." And in the NLT, it says, "Your wealth is rotting away and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags." It says your wealth is rotting away. Why is your wealth rotting away? Because why? Your wealth is FRNs, and whatever precious stones or rubies you got, you want to keep that secure and keep that safe. That's why they all go underground. It said that they see what's coming ahead. You can see the signs. The signs point to all hell about to break loose. All signs point to the shit hitting the fan. Verse 3, it says, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days." And that's where we're at right now. We're in the last days. So I'm reading that in NLT, James chapter 5, verse 3. And it reads, "Your gold and silver have become worthless. The very wealth you were counting on will eat away your flesh like fire." And that's these guys, Mark Wahlberg, Jeff Bezos, Rockstar guy, Weiner, Tom Brady. Movies ain't kicking. Movies ain't kicking. You ain't playing football no more. Jeff Bezos, you just an egghead. But you all what? You all will be considered rich and wealthy people. But it said your gold and silver have become worthless, so your money, because back then, because gold and silver still is technically real money. Now I'm pretty sure those guys, they can have gold and silver, but at the end of the day, it's still worthless. It's not going to stop you from the day of the Lord. It's not going to stop you. It's not going to stop the day of judgment from coming. No, even if you go underground and all that shit, the Lord said you're going to get you from underground. Now, granted, Mark Wahlberg, I think personally he's a Jake, and possibly Tom Brady is a Jake. But at the end of the day, you still, if you are Israelites, you too, that means you fell in line with Esau. So you might get the judgment of an Edomite. So let me go back to that article. So it says, you can't just stroll onto Indian Creek. Not a chance. The island is locked down with high-tech security system, with a high-tech security system that's straight out of a spy movie. The wealthier you become, the more you want perfect security. Seth Lowe, director of the Public Space Research Group at CUNY, told Business Insider recently, and Indian Creek delivers. Oh, it says, small hat design radar system rings the island. Interesting. Is E. So it says, it's a system that can detect anyone approaching half a mile away. Cameras are everywhere, hidden hedges, mounted on poles, and linked to a command center that monitors every move. But remember, let's say you make this withstands the missiles, right? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, don't you know YAHAWAH BAHASHAM can make it seem to where like those sensors don't work against them? Matter of fact, it's not going to work against them. Remember, the Lord said all your devices, man, it's going to be laughed at. The Lord said he's going to make a speedy riddance to the wicked. So all of this AI, all of this shit you got going on, it's all going to be for naught. Because the Lord is going to show you what real power is. He's going to show you what real intelligence is. Organic intelligence from the heavens. Everything, all this AI and all this crypto and all this is still of the earth. The Lord is coming from a higher stratosphere, way above your pay grade, way above your knowledge. All right? Continuing on. It says, the police force here, they're more like personal bodyguards for the residents, with 19 officers for just 89 residents. Indian Creek has a cop-to-citizen ratio that makes New York City look understaffed. And these aren't your average officers. They're trained in tactical operations and armed with fully automatic weapons. They also spend most of their time patrolling the island's perimeter, ensuring no one gets too close. See? And this is not something that's making the news crazy. All right? Not the national news. This ain't on channel NBC, CNN. Well, it could be on CNN, but I ain't seen nothing. I seen InfoWars, End Time Headline, other social media platforms. But why is this not being talked about throughout the national news, like how they talking about Diddy, or how they talking about all these bullshit celebrities and their bullshit in their life? Why are they not talking about the celebrities doing this? Why are they not talking about Tom Brady doing this? Why are they not? Why is this not making headlines? But anyway, it says, once upon a time, the ultra-wealthy preferred living in large cities such as Los Angeles or New York City, but now everything has changed. On Twitter, New York City Council member Vicky Palladino shared a very disturbing incident that just occurred in her area. So this is a New York City Council member. Now, they're not that high of the totem pole, but those are quote-unquote government officials. It says, last night in Malba, a large group of individuals from outside my district conducted an illegal takeover of a quiet residential street at approximately 12:30 a.m. This is not the first time it's happened. Now, this is midnight. So it says a private security guard attempted to calm the situation. He was assaulted by the mob and his vehicle was set on fire. He suffered significant injuries. A local resident was also assaulted. Response to this incident was less than ideal. Residents reporting the incident to 911 were told that quality of life team and 311 should handle the situation. Unacceptable. In fact, these violent street takeovers should be met with maximum force by the police department. Now, mind, this is city council members' neighborhood, a quiet residential street. So not in the hood. It says, we have never, and the never is in all caps, it says, we have never had these problems before. Now it's an epidemic. What changed? We stopped arresting criminals? It says, I'm meeting this morning with the chief of department and a local precinct at the scene to discuss exactly what happened last night. I have already, now I guess it's the November 25th. So this is a couple days ago. It says, I have already been assured that Marlboro will receive 4 dedicated patrol cars from this point forward, as well as additional security upgrades that we cannot disclose. But you got to think about it. If this keep happening, the law enforcement is going to be spread thin. It's going to be spread thin. There ain't going to be enough cops to security all these people and patrol all these people. Especially people that be considered undesirables. Now, she's a city council member, so she got a little bit of stain, but they don't care about you that much. You see how the people of Trump's cabinet, they all left their cribs and they living on military bases. It says, however, the city must, and the must is in all caps, the city must do something to stop this lawlessness. See, lawlessness. It says all the speed cameras in the world do absolutely nothing to prevent these incidents. We need police response and the most severe consequences for these criminals, not to simply allow them to drive away after they've completed their mayhem. And that's what they see, lawlessness, anarchy. All hell breaking loose, chaos. Shit hitting the fan. That shit hitting the fan. In a quiet residential area where a city council member lives. It says these incidents are happening citywide, and they're happening because there are no longer any real consequences to this kind of criminality. But let me make something very clear to the criminals. You're risking your lives bringing this chaos into our neighborhoods. And it says, of course, conditions are not just deteriorating in our core urban areas. In southeastern Wisconsin, thieves from South America are systematically looting home after home. So remember they talked about the whole thing with the immigration. And remember, this could be order after chaos. Order after chaos. Bring all this chaos, talk about all the migrants. I seen some videos of some migrants that was fighting in the streets, fist fighting. And then you had the whole thing with the two National Guard people getting unalived in Washington, D.C. of all places. I want to say by the White House. After that, then Trump saying the whole thing with something with the migrant situation, not letting people in from a certain area. It's a wrap. So it says a wave of high-end residential burglaries across southeastern Wisconsin has prompted a coordinated law enforcement response and drawn political attention at both the local and national level. See, and that's what the super rich are seeing. What the elite, these are what the rich people are seeing. Now, not the super elites like the Rothschilds, but these are what the rich people like Tom Brady, Jeff Bezos, Mark Wahlberg. This is what all these people are like and them are seeing. And like this councilwoman, this is the things that they're seeing. So they say, you know what? We need to go underground. We need to get a bunker. And this ain't a movie. This ain't a movie. This is real. This is real reality. And it says what? Security is the main priority. Because look what's happening. Look, these are the things happening real time. This happened a couple days ago. Because this article came out November 26th. So if that chick said at 12:30 a.m., which means that was at midnight or whatever, a day or two before. It says all over the nation, crime and violence are out of control. If you have the resources to move somewhere more secure, that is probably a good idea. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have the resources. That's when the faith in Yahawah BAHASHAM is going to come into play for those that don't have those earthly resources, man. Because you think Mark Wahlberg, you think Tom Brady, you think Jeff Bezos especially, you think the guy from Rockstar Energy is putting trust in Yahawah BAHASHAM. No, they putting trust in their might. They're putting trust in their riches. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Hold up. I was in James. Let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah. What was that? Chapter 9. So it's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 9, verse 23, and it reads, Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, because people feel like, oh, they got the money, so we're going to have to do something to make ourselves safe. Our money is going to secure us. But nah. Not if Yahawah BAHASHAM got something to say about it, and he do got something to say about it. And he's gonna show you just how unsafe you just might be with all the money you're spending and this is fortress, high security fortress communities. It says Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 24, and it says, But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM. You think that's what they're thinking about? They're thinking about how to hold on to their riches and what money, what wealth they have. But the Lord said your wealth is worthless. The Lord said your wealth is worthless. And soon enough, you're feeling it more and more. Like, granted, you still could put your money in to get this mansion down there. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when you're down there, the Lord is going to show you just how much power you don't have, just how much protection you don't have. And not just them, the higher up elites too. The Rothschilds and all them Rockefellers, who I personally believe they're already in bunkers. Not in America, by the way, because these bunkers that Tom Brady, Jeff Bezos, Mark Wahlberg got, they're still in America. So you're in the daughter of Babylon, which ought to be destroyed anyway. You better get a bunker down, somewhere in Europe. You better go somewhere else, because having anything in America is going to be destroyed regardless. Okay, so let me go back to the article, and then we get a couple more scriptures. So it says, but of course, most of the population doesn't have the resources to move somewhere more secure. In fact, We have reached a point where millions upon millions of Americans are just trying to figure out a way to keep the lights on. Misty Pilu's family lived in the dark for several days this month. Pilu's power was shut off November 13th because of $602 in unpaid bills, the latest in a string of financial humiliation that began 6 months ago after her husband lost his 20-hour excavation job in northeastern Pennsylvania. The recent government shutdown dealt another blow, delaying federal funding for programs that help the family pay for food and utilities. Remember the whole thing with the shutdown? Like for that, what is that, like a month damn near? Little under a month, I think. So it says, although Pilu's lights were temporarily turned back on last week, they were set to be disconnected again if she didn't pay another $102. With an overdrawn bank account, she was bracing to be without power again. Last time her family ate peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner and slept in hoodies and gloves to keep warm. This is what life looks like for so many people out here right now. In New York City, residential power shutoffs are up 5-fold compared to 1 year ago. In some areas, such as New York City, the surge has been dramatic, with residential shutoffs in August up 5-fold from a year ago, utility filings show. Needless to say, Americans aren't just getting behind on their power bills. As economic conditions have steadily gotten worse, delinquency rates have risen to historic levels. Credit card balances alone jumped $24 billion, reaching an all-time high, while the share of balances in serious delinquency 90 days past due climbed to a nearly financial crash level of 7.1%. So these are the people that don't have the resources to buy a mansion in Stone Creek Mountain, where the fuck it's called. So your day-to-day regular Americans, the vast majority of the population, the 99% as they would call it, or part of the high part of the 99%, they don't have enough money to keep their lights on, or they pay for food. The whole thing with the snap showed that. So what does the future really, what's ahead of us right now? Remember, the Lord said these gonna be tribulous times, a time like no other. They shall run each other's houses for lack of bread. They talk about food. They were talking about the government funding that they didn't get was how they took care of food and utilities. Electricity is a utility. Utility like gas, water, electric. It's about to be cold. There's going to be what? Heat. Your gas bill. It's just going to get crazy out here. You know? So it says, auto loans tell a similar story with serious delinquency rates at 3%, the highest since 2010, and a spike in resulting defaults has triggered a wave of repossessions in 2025. With 2.2 million vehicles already repossessed, per figures from the Recovery Database Network, and forecasts of a record 3 million by year's end. And we're almost at the year's end, because it's going to be December in a couple weeks. Not even a couple weeks, in a couple days. It says delinquencies, defaults, and repossessions have shot up in recent years and look alarmingly similar to trends that were apparent before the Great Recession. The Consumer Federation of America said in a recent post, so Americans are broke, getting cars repossessed, utilities turned off, not be able to pay for food. And remember, the Lord said these are the beginning of sorrows. This is only going to get worse from here now, but let's go back to these billionaires. So the one with the resources, how they're going underground, getting these bunkers, right? So let's see what the Lord got to say about that. Because they said, oh, do they know something that's coming that we don't? Yeah, of course they know. They know all hell about to break loose. I'm going to Isaiah first. Isaiah chapter 2 is at verse 9. Okay, so this is the book of Isaiah chapter 2 verse 19, and it says, and they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. But that's going to be when the Lord returns. But you got to remember, the Lord is bringing all these plagues regardless. So everything is because of Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So he's bringing the spirit, he's putting the spirit on people to get wild because you know what? Lack of resources, lack of food, lack of funds. And it's about to be 2026, the quote-unquote 250-year anniversary for America, but look at the position America is in right now. It's gone to shit, and it's only going lower and lower. So when now you got all these billionaires, Mark Wahlberg, Tom Brady, Jeff Bezos, this dude Weiner from the Rockstar Energy, getting fortress, high security fortress communities, mansions down there, luxury mansions, luxury bunkers, what have you, billionaire bunkers. Because they what? They're gonna hide. They're hiding from the wrath of the Lord. They may not say it, and they might even understand it. They might not know, but something is telling them like, "Yo, we got to go on the ground. We gotta, yo, it's getting out of hand in society. It's getting out of hand in America." These people, remember, these people observe things happening because what? They're part of high society. So if they see the actual society collapsing, they know that we're ones that got money. They're automatically gonna not feel safe. Because they ain't going to be on some, yo, I liked your movies, oh, Tom Brady, man, the greatest Cuba ever. It's going to be, yo, man, yo, Tom, I'm hungry, man. Give me some shit. We know you got it. You got to really think about that. It ain't going to be about, yo, Mark Wahlberg, I loved you in this, I loved you in that. Tom Brady, man, that was a hell of a performance in that one game, that one Super Bowl game, or that one playoff game. None of that shit going to matter. It said your riches, and all that's going to be worthless. It said it should be sedition among men. Men running each other's houses for lack of bread. So who has the bread? These rich motherfuckers. Okay, okay, here we go. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 2, verse 20. And it says, no matter of fact, I'm gonna read verse 19 in the NLT. It says, this is Isaiah 2 and 19 in the NLT. It says, when the Lord rises to shake the earth, his enemies will crawl into holes in the ground. They will hide in caves in the rocks from the terror of the Lord and the glory of his majesty. So what did it say? It's an enclave. Enclave, or whatever the fuck. It's underground. That's prophecy. You got Mark Wahlberg and Tom Brady, Jeff Bezos fulfilling prophecy. And it's not just them. A bunch of these motherfuckers. I heard something about Shaq was building a bunker. You had these other celebrities talk about building bunkers. I remember ways back, Khloe Kardashian. Talk about a doomsday bunker or like something underground, some shit underground. Now these celebrities, look how these rich people are moving, and you still got the majority of people that don't got the resources. They just like, yo, fuck it, carelessly. Okay, so verse 20 of Isaiah chapter 2, it says, in that day, a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats. Say, that's your money. Yo, dollar bills gonna be burnt up. They're gonna be burnt up easy. It might be for warmth. You might have to burn some FRNs to keep warm. That's the times we coming in. All this money, all the cash rules, everything around me. We'll see about that, man. We'll see about that when the cash is not worth nothing. And the Lord, they said it's not worth nothing. Hell, the world is saying that the cash is not worth nothing. The value of the US dollar has gone down immensely over the last few years. And it's only going to decline more and more and more. It's not going to shoot back up. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 21, it says, to go into the clefts of the rocks and into the tops of the ragged rocks, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty when he arises to shake terribly the earth. And how is he going to do that? Ultimately, he's going to have these missiles be shot off, and then when he returns, when the Father sends YAHAWASHI back, he's going to shake the earth. Just with his presence, when he comes into this atmosphere, it's going to shake the earth. It's going to be the sounds of the trumpets and all that. It's going to be a hell of a show. It's going to be hell of theatrics. And all you actors, all you entertainers, celebrities, all you motherfuckers, you thought it was all good. You thought you were going to, your generational wealth, that shit is done. The Lord said, this generation shall not pass away till all things be fulfilled. And all things are being fulfilled as we speak. They're getting their nukes ready as we speak. They're getting the MOT bit ready as we speak. Concentration camps, all that. They're getting all that ready as we speak. Some of it is already ready. But soon enough, they're going to bring everything out to the masses and be like, yo, they're going to bring out the whole new setup, martial law, new world order, police state, curfews, rations, all that. We got one more scripture. I'm going to get, hold on, I'm going to get the book of Revelation, chapter 6. So I'm going to go into the book of Revelation, chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 13, but the point is in the last 3 verses. So it says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Now, what's a mighty wind that's going to be coming? That nuclear wind. When them nuclear missiles are shot off, it's gonna be, they call it, it's like a nuclear wind, blast radius and all that stuff. It's just gonna take everything out in its path, and everything in its path is gonna be what? America, the whole United States of America, Babylon the Great is gonna be utterly set on fire with those nukes, by way of those nuclear weapons. Revelation chapter 6 verse 14, it says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it's rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. And those nuclear missiles, they're going to cause that mushroom cloud. It looks like a scroll rolled up, but it's really the mushroom cloud from the nuclear smoke and from that nuclear fire. Nuclear missiles going to be shot to and fro to different locations, but a lot of them going to come here to America. That's why I say, if you're left, like, that's all them bunkers you got in America, you still not gonna make it. They're saying them bunkers is gonna be useless. Even if you're in America, it's gonna be so much fire, man. This shit is gonna melt all that shit. Remember, this place is gonna become a desert. A desert. Burn through all this. Remember, it's only gonna take an hour. It's not gonna take that long. All right. Revelation chapter 6, verse 15, it says, here where it gets good. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. But how deep you got to hide is how much money you got. Because, you have to actually be underground, because like the elites are going to be underground. They're going to be underground in other parts of the world, where we're going to dig them out. So I'm going to go into the NLT. And remember, it said great men and rich men and chief captains. Isn't not Tom Brady a so-called great man in this society? Is not Wahlberg a rich, great man in this society? Is not Jeff Bezos a rich, great man in this society? All right. So Revelation chapter 6, verse 15 in the NLT, and it says, then everyone, the kings of the earth, the rulers, the generals, the wealthy, the powerful, and every slave and free person, so the rich and poor, all hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. Now, this is the book of Revelation. This is the New Testament. So what you got to say about that, Christian churches, people? This is the return of the Lord, the day of the Lord, the Son, the only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, because his real name has been put out there, but you don't believe it. Why y'all don't bring out this scripture in the church? Did this come to pass already? Did we miss it? Hell no. This is a future prophecy that's coming real soon. Because you see, look what they're doing. Mark Wahlberg, Tom Brady, Jeff, I can't say it enough. Going underground. Going into bunkers. High security fortress communities. Underground. As the scripture said. Rich, powerful. Men, people. All right. Verse 16, it says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Now, isn't the Lamb YAHAWASHI, who you call Jesus? Why are they trying to hide if the Lord's coming back to deliver everybody? Why would they hide? Why are they going underground? Why did it say the wrath? I thought he was all jolly and happy. I'm reading that in NLT. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 16 in the NLT, and it says, and they cried to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, which is YAHAWASHI. That's YAHAWASHI. Who you call Jesus Christ. This is a future prophecy. Now, mind you, we still got the C hit, which is Revelation the 13th chapter. That didn't come to pass yet. We're waiting, and then it's surely coming every day. Every day that passes, we're getting closer to this day that they're afraid of. Revelation chapter 6, verse 17, it says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? For the great wrath, for the great day of his wrath is come. The great day of the what? Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI's wrath, his indignation, his righteous anger. The fire of his jealousy. That's what's on the way. It said it has come. The year of his redeemed is here. The day of the Lord is nigh. It is nigh. Though it tarry, wait for it. It shall surely come. It will not tarry. The end shall speak. This is the end speaking. These niggas going underground, getting bunkers, talking about the society collapsing. I mean, I don't need to take a rocket scientist, all right? But I'm reading the NLT and I'm going to close it up. So it's the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 17 in the NLT. It says, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to survive? Who is able to survive? You in America, you're not going to survive the wrath of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. And if you do survive the wrath of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, and you're not taken up by the nukes, you're going to get carted off into captivity. By Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. By YAHWASHI and his elect. The men, women, children of the elect, the 1/3. Those are going to be the new, that's going to be the new government on the earth. Those are going to be the new governors. Those are going to be the new policy makers. And it's going to be the law of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. The law, statutes, commandments of the God of Jacob, the God of Israel. That's the new law coming. All Esau's law is basically lawlessness now. Now everything is getting twisted. Everything is getting so crazy. And it's only going to get worse. It's still fairly normal. You got niggas on you doing Thanksgiving and still having, you know what I'm saying, all that, people still having children and doing all the normal shit of normal life. But as time goes on, how you going to continue with that life? You have to get the MOTB. And that's another thing that's coming. That's one of the last prophecies we waiting for. Because the whole thing with the missiles and the war, that's going to continue to fester. But the MOTB, the microchip, is going to complement the missiles, or the missiles going to complement the SEAD. Because that's going to be the judgment for those that receive that mark. All right? But with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI BAHASHAM KAKADASH. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, a.k.a. the apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and love always to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.